Hi everybody, this is Dino Chris from Prehistoric Facts. This is a special episode. We'll actually talk about 3 dinosaurs this time because I got one last night. It's another suggestion last night, so I'll actually get right to it. I'll actually go for alphabetical order here. This first one we're actually going to be talking about is a dinosaur called Beipiaosaurus. Beipiaosaurus in Greek or Latin is Beipio lizard. Fossils found in Asia, early Cretaceous, 125 million years ago. About 7 feet long and approximately 75 pounds. Could be actually to 100 maybe. It's a herbivore. And this dinosaur is actually kind of an early therizinosaur. And so this dinosaur would actually possibly be feeding on like the low shrubbing plants, like some ferns and all that sorts of stuff, and also all that kinds of stuff. Around that time, 125 million years ago, you would have probably had abundance of like predators that would actually be going up against, probably like some of the early raptor dinosaurs, early dromaeosaurs, maybe young of like larger carnivores. I can't really say what where some of these fossils have been found in Asia, but I'm guessing maybe China, but it's unknown. I don't really know this much about this dinosaur, but because I haven't heard of this dinosaur for a long time, and so this is actually kind of a dinosaur that I still need to do a little bit more research on. But whoever suggested this, I would actually say that I will look into a little more research on this. I can definitely tell by artist render. I can tell by the artist impressions of what this dinosaur probably look like. It does have feathers. I mean, it does actually have some therizinosaur qualities, like the kind of like a beaky snout, long claws on its hands, and I mean, it probably is like one of the cooler small dinosaurs that has actually been found. But I would actually have to look more research into this. So I'm sorry I can't give you too much information on this. I wish I could actually look up the information like as quickly as I could, but I can't. I'm trying to make this video short and sweet, so that way everybody can be a little bit happier to actually see a video that is not like particularly over 20 minutes long. And so alright, the next dinosaur we're actually going to be talking about is Miragaia. And Miragaia is a stegosaur. Trying to get the picture coming up here. Yeah, Miragaia. The fossils are actually named from a location in Portugal, and so that actually kind of makes sense. Is that Miragaia is Portuguese? You know, why not? Fossils have been found in Western Europe and mostly in Portugal. Late Jurassic, 150 million years ago, about 20 feet long and approximately 1 ton. And then there's, of course, stegosaurs. Like all stegosaurs are herbivores. And when you actually look at Miragaia, it actually has very small plates, very small back plates. And so this would actually mean that it probably that males might actually be the ones that would be advertising to the females. Maybe females probably had like kind of like scoots on their back, and probably didn't actually have to do too much in terms of display, but I think most stegosaurs use their plates and spikes for display purposes. The tail spikes, on the other hand, are pretty much like their weapons. They're defensive weapons against predators. And if anybody has actually seen Dinosaur Revolution, or aka Dinotasia, you actually see Miragaia actually does make an appearance in that film, and you can actually see that it's actually the setting kind of takes place in like 150 million years ago in Portugal, and you actually have like sauropods and also some carnivores like Allosaurus and Torvosaurus that actually be living around inside its area. Now, I think the main predator that would actually be concerned about is Torvosaurus. Torvosaurus would actually just kind of go through the defenses of Miragaia. Now, even though Miragaia does have like a small shoulder spike that it could use to actually like lean and actually try to impale the face of the predator. And so that would actually be one reason why Torvosaurus could keep its distance for a little bit, but it could actually go through the defenses of a Miragaia. Allosaurus, on the other hand, would actually have a little bit more trouble actually going up against Miragaia, because Miragaia would actually have pretty significant weapons to actually stand against an Allosaurus. And then so Miragaia, like all stegosaurs, would actually be really slow moving and would actually use those back legs to actually position its rear end to actually towards the predator, and so that would actually be the case. But it still needs to take a look at where the predator is. So that's going to be the reasons why you actually will see in a defensive posture, it would actually move its rear end towards the predator. It would not actually like turn all the way around and let the predator just face the back end. That's not how it's actually going to go. It's going to turn sideways a little bit, and then it's going to use those back legs to shuffle its rear end towards the predator. And so that's how it's actually going to be defending itself. And Miragaia lived in that time of the Jurassic. I mean, a very huge ecosystem of like pterosaurs, sauropods, theropods all around. I mean, you actually have a really pretty lush ecosystem for Miragaia to actually hang around in. And so it would have been a very warm climate, and that would actually be the case for Miragaia to actually have that type of ability to actually adapt to that climate. But extinction would actually be that it couldn't adapt to the changes, considering that that Eurasia is actually separating away from North America, and so once Europe was actually kind of separated from North America, that kind of actually caused problems. And also the rising sea levels. The rising sea levels would actually have huge consequences for a lot of the animals that actually survived in the Jurassic, and so the floodplains would actually be be flooded and all that sorts of stuff. So it would actually be very hard for those types of animals to actually survive, and so Miragaia would actually have a harder time in those types of conditions. And now we're actually going to be talking about a tyrannosaur called Teratophoneus. And so Teratophoneus is a tyrannosaur. And its name in Greek or Latin means monstrous murderer. And so, kind of get the idea here. Fossils have been found in North America. Late Cretaceous 75 million years ago. About 20 feet long and are probably around a ton, 2,000 pounds. And then, of course, all tyrannosaurs are carnivores. And so Teratophoneus was actually named after Phil Currie. Can you believe that? I mean, it's actually in terms of the last part of the name, in terms of the species name, it actually has Currie, which is actually Currie for Phil Currie, and so you actually would say it's honored by him. That was actually a really cool thing to actually think about is that a Tyrannosaur is kind of named after Phil Curry. There's still there's camps of people that actually want to have like their favorite paleontologists have their own type of dinosaur, and so that's kind of cool to actually think about that. But anywho, Teratophoneus, most of the fossils actually have been found mostly in the southwestern United States. Excuse me. Keep seeing southeast for whatever reason. The southwestern region of the United States, mostly like in New Mexico, Arizona, and parts of Utah. And so this is a dinosaur. So this is a medium-sized Tyrannosaur. So it's not really large at all. Not as big as like Daspletosaurus, Albertosaurus, Tarbosaurus, and Tyrannosaurus rex, or even Zooxantheranus. And so you're actually looking at a dinosaur that is actually a theropod that is actually going to probably rely more on speed, but even though it does actually have a certain amount of power in its body. A lot of people say that Teratophoneus would actually be the southern version of an Albertosaurus, and so that could actually make a little bit of sense, considering that like you actually have the main Albertosaurs in the northern part of North America, like mostly like in Canada and the northern states of. In most of the northern parts of the states of the United States, and then you actually have Teratophoneus, which is kind of living in a little bit more warmer climate, and also actually a little bit more rugged type of environment. So it would actually be a little bit more harsh landscape for Teratophoneus, even though the woodlands would actually be the best place for it to actually live, considering that it needs to weave through all those types of trees to actually catch the prey, and also probably be a little bit more of an ambush predator. And so, like with Tyrannosaurus, it's got short arms, it's got good eyesight, good sense of smell, good sense of hearing, very powerful jaws, would actually have a good speed, and it actually has those types of characteristics of Tyrannosaurs, and so that actually is why it's actually a Tyrannosaur, and probably it would actually be going after the Hadrosaurs a little bit more than actually the Ceratopsians. I don't know if like a Planet Dinosaur is actually done. I think it has done an episode of where it probably was Teratophoneus, but I could be wrong. It could be a Beipiaosaurus in that episode, where it kind of takes place in like the southwestern part of the United States, and Nothronicus kind of makes its second appearance in a dinosaur documentary. And so if anybody actually knows what Tyrannosaur that is, I mean, I probably say it actually does take place around 90 million years ago, so that's when Nothronicus is actually around. So it could be a different Tyrannosaur species that was actually found in that area, but it actually probably might not be Teratophoneus. But some of you just let me know. All right, just leave it down in the comments section. And of course, extinction of Teratophoneus is that it just couldn't adapt to those new changes, and also that Tyrannosaurs were actually becoming a little bit more advanced. They were getting larger, and also they were actually using a little bit more power to actually take down their prey. So it would actually be the case of that it just couldn't actually compete against larger Tyrannosaurs, and so that would actually be the case. Alright, that's it for now. Now next week will be another Answering Questions episode. So if you got a question about dinosaurs or any other prehistoric life, feel free to email me at dinochrist71@gmail.com, or just go on my Facebook page, Prehistoric Facts with Dino Chris. Like the page, you can actually post your questions on the wall, or even in the comment section on any Facebook post. But remember, keep your questions short and to the point. You can also follow me on Twitter at CSJILL. That's my Twitter page. I post pretty cool stuff on there. Also, take care of the people around you, and also for your younger people out there, make sure to listen to your parents, your teachers, and your guardians. Those are the best motivators you can have for good education. It's very important to have a good education. So with a good education, you get a good job in the future. Alright, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next week.